Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into what it really takes to be a digital entrepreneur. A fascinating study from 2023 looked into the psychology of young founders. And trust me, the answers are probably not what you'd expect. So let's start with a quick thought experiment. When I say the word entrepreneur, what image pops into your head? Is it a particular person, a specific set of character traits? Yeah, for most of us, it's probably someone who looks a lot like this, right? This hyper-confident, super disciplined, larger-than-life figure who just seems like they were born to run a business. It's the classic stereotype we see all the time. But how accurate is that stereotype, really? Especially when we're talking about today's digital founders. Well, a recent study decided to put our assumptions to the test. So a team of researchers surveyed more than 500 university students to figure out what actually predicts the intention, the simple desire to start a digital business. And to do this, they use a really well-known psychological framework called the Big Five personality traits. All right, so here's what they did. They took these 5 core personality dimensions and basically asked which ones, if any, have a real, direct link to a student's ambition to start a digital business. It was a process of elimination. First up, conscientiousness. You know, the super disciplined, ultra-organized, get-it-done kind of person. This has got to be a big one for entrepreneurs, right? I mean, it just makes sense. Well, get this. The data found it had no direct impact whatsoever. Seriously, being highly conscientious didn't directly predict whether or not someone wanted to start a business. Surprising, right? Okay, fine. If it's not the workhorse, then it's got to be the social butterfly, the extrovert. You know, the classic charismatic leader who can charm investors and rally a team. That has to be it. And nope, wrong again. The data showed the exact same thing. No direct link. So another huge part of that classic stereotype just kind of crumbles when you look at the evidence. And as the researchers went down the list, a really clear pattern started to show up. Agreeableness, which is being cooperative and trusting, nope. Neuroticism, the tendency to feel negative emotions, also no direct connection. One by one, these common assumptions just weren't panning out. So that leaves us with the million-dollar question, doesn't it? If it's not any of those 4 traits we usually think of, which personality trait, if any, actually mattered? And the answer is openness to experience. This was the only one of the big 5 that had a direct positive influence. We're talking about curiosity, imagination, and a genuine desire for new and different things. Basically, it's the mindset of an explorer. But hold on, because personality is just part of the story. The study dug even deeper and found another absolutely critical factor that goes way beyond basic traits. And that factor is something called individual resilience. Now, this isn't about being invincible or never failing. It's actually the opposite. It's all about how you bounce back after you get knocked down. It's like a psychological shock absorber, which, let's be honest, you're gonna need. And what's so cool about this is that resilience isn't some magic quality you're just born with. The research shows it's a skill you can actually build. It's made up of things like being aware of your own emotions, having some impulse control, and, this is a big one, having a core belief in your own ability to succeed. This was a huge find in the study. The connection was crystal clear. The more resilient a student was, the more likely they were to want to start a digital business. It was an incredibly powerful predictor. Okay, so we've got an open mind and a resilient spirit. But the study found one last piece to this puzzle, and this one's fascinating because it's not about what's inside you, it's about what's around you. The researchers looked at the university environment itself, were the staff helpful, were the resources good? And what they found was this amazing 2-for-1 deal. A supportive environment didn't just directly make students want to be entrepreneurs, it also boosted their personal resilience. How cool is that? All right, let's step back and put all these pieces together. We've kind of torn down that old, tired stereotype. So what does the new blueprint for a modern digital founder actually look like? It's pretty clear, right? It's not about being that extroverted workhorse. The real drive to become a digital entrepreneur seems to be built on 3 key pillars: a personality that's open to new things, the psychological skill of resilience, and having some solid external support. And this isn't just some fluffy idea. When you combine these three things, openness, resilience, and a supportive environment, they explained almost 38% of the difference in students' entrepreneurial intentions. I mean, in a study like this, that's a huge amount of predictive power. What's really powerful about this new blueprint is what it means for all of us. It suggests that becoming an entrepreneur might be way more accessible than we thought. It's less about being born a certain way and much more about developing the right mindset, skills, and finding the right support system. Which kind of brings us to a whole new way of thinking about this. Maybe the question we should be asking isn't, am I born an entrepreneur, but something totally different. How can I work on my curiosity and build up my resilience?